and part of the rally today landed somewhere much closer to what we would hear. The problem is they come in concert with all of his other very dangerous words. Let's be clear. It is very dangerous, irresponsible, and in many ways pathetic that Donald Trump has spent several days calling into question what is a bipartisan, multi-century tradition in this country. That's why this is a big deal. That's why Republicans, including his own running mate, are trying to walk him back. Voters can decide whether they're comfortable with someone who needs this much adult supervision over fundamental matters of whether we have a peaceful transfer of power and we respect the election officials who are, of course, by the way, from both parties and local, because we have federalism in this country, or whether they see a problem with that. As an observer of an election, as a lawyer, as a reporter, I find all of this very concerning. This isn't like the parts of the debate last night where you said, how do you feel about abortion or the economy, and you have reasonable disagreements among reasonable people. This is someone who, in his words, is basically saying he's not sure he will accept the outcome, and it's not up to him. The outcome is determined by those election officials I mentioned from both parties, and as a backstop by the courts. Now, having said that, what was also interesting, the news in the last hour, is having said all that and muddied it up and really riled up a lot of people, he did also, as you mentioned, Thomas, state something that is on its own reasonable. He said that if there is evidence or if it is very close and not a clear result, he reserves the right to challenge. Sure, and you can walk to work every day and reserve the right to sue your employer if you slip and fall, but that doesn't mean you start every day or every meeting saying, I reserve the right to sue you. So he landed on what sounded like a reasonable position. I don't know whether he wrote those words or someone else did, but how we got up to this point and whether he sticks to what is now a version of this that is reasonable is very important. I hope we don't spend weeks going into this election with people misunderstanding that it could be stolen in this way, because that's not what the facts show.
Well, Donald Trump talked about the primary being rigged the entire time until he won it, and then he was satisfied with that outcome. We had Joe Biden, the vice president, speaking moments ago in New Hampshire. Peter, I want to play what the vice president had to say and ask you about other elected reaction on the other side. Take a look at this.
The things that Donald Trump is saying and doing are genuinely a threat to the democratic process, which is based on trust. Think about what it is. No democratic process can be sustained without a sense of trust. Trust. Not only is he disqualified by what all the press is talking about today, and he's been talking about, because he's questioning not the legitimacy of our elections, the legitimacy of our democracy. If you question, if you assert that a democratic election is fixed, you are attacking the very essence of the notion whether we have a democratic system.
So, Peter, this is almost that time where Trump gave the answer to Chris Matthews about there should be a punishment for a woman who seeks an abortion or who has